Good morning. It's Sunday. Bridge and I had kind of a food orgy last night, so I'm at my favorite neighborhood park to try and walk off a little bit of the damage. If you've struggled with your weight at any point in your life, you get it. You just have to have the discipline to do the other half. Enjoying the food is the easy part. Working off the effects and the damage is another part. And I have been struggling with this for 40 plus years. I've always been the big kid. I always needed the husky pants as a kid, and I still am wearing things that are probably a size too big for me. I'm carrying about 12 extra pounds right now, and I'd really like to get rid of that for the fall. Morning. I enjoy the clothes in the fall time more than anything. The sweaters, the pullovers, the Henleys, and those things don't look very good on me when I'm carrying a few extra pounds. So I'm out for a walk this morning. I'm going to share some things with you. And I'm also going to have a talk about my 5-month anniversary away from social media. Well, if you live in the Midwest, you know that the freaking heat came back this week. 90s all the way through Thursday, and then I'm sure we'll get some dramatic sort of rain event that'll knock a few degrees off the temperature. I've got a class reunion next Saturday. It's going to be interesting to see a lot of people I haven't seen in about 20 years or so. It's being held at a classmate's home. So Bridge is going to come with me. It's going to be the first time she's ever seen these people in person. So that ought to be a fun take. Yeah. It's a perfect time of the morning to come here and walk because it's not terribly crowded. I have a feeling the temperatures are going to be up in the 90s probably before noon. And it's the good old Midwest wet heat. The humidity has come in strong, and I feel like I'm in a sauna right now. So I marked an anniversary this week. I've been off social media now for 5 months, and I don't miss it. I really don't. And just to be clear, the one thing that I do participate in that could be considered social media is Reddit. I have a lot of interests, as you may be able to start figuring out. I love doing my leather work. I love typing letters on my typewriter. And I have recently started to understand a population of people who really enjoy fountain pens. Not like $1,000 Mont Blanc fountain pens, but, fountain pens for you and me. And I found a lot of subreddits that address these things. I've learned a lot. I've gone there with questions. I've found really, really, really supportive communities there. But the thing about Reddit is there's also places for people to discuss the things that I'm trying to avoid. So I have done a fearless accounting of all of the subreddits that I was attached to, and I've done some house cleaning to get the noise out of my life. And it's been a very quiet existence since then. I have come to discover that social media has benefits and detriments. For all the peace that I've found in the last 5 months, I've also discovered that it's become a really convenient way for people to communicate, especially big life events. And I'm not big on regret because I don't think it's healthy. But one thing that I was disappointed to learn was that a very long-time friend of mine from way back, 9th grade, 8th grade, 9th grade, I've been close with his family ever since then. I've known them all his brothers and sisters, his parents. And I reached out to him to confirm his address because I wanted to send him a letter. And I had found out that just the day before they had laid his father to rest. My buddy is a firefighter, and his father was a firefighter, and I remember his dad being a firefighter in our local firehouse. I was disappointed that I didn't get a chance to say goodbye to him. So it made me realize that, yeah, social media does have its benefits, but for the most part, the problems that I was having with social media were the effect that the bad stuff was having on me, and that's the reason I turned my back on it. And I chose self-care, at least for now, to get my head clear and clean, and to just ignore the noise from the people who were trying to make me believe that certain things were important and other things weren't. Thus far, it's been a good experiment. I don't see myself going back to Facebook or Instagram anytime ever. I've just lost my attraction to the things that I thought those platforms could do for me. So I have taken that time and I have started doing all the things. Writing letters has become a really great, it's just become this very connecting experience for me. Doing everything by hand and kind of celebrating the analog things in my life. The writing the letters, the typing the letters, using my film camera. I'm going to shoot a couple of more videos about my film cameras. And I've got a little thing to talk about later too. I think I'm going to take only film cameras on a trip that we are going to take after the first of the year. And if I get good images, I get good images. And if I don't, well, that's the life of film. We love listening to vinyl at home. We've got a huge collection of albums. We love playing our board games. It's backgammon every single night after dinner. We always play a few rounds. And we even took our portable backgammon board to the laundromat last night because our washer and dryer at home don't have the capacity to do our bed linen, our big comforter. And so we went to the laundromat last night with a stack full of quarters and played backgammon for a couple hours while we got all the dog and cat fur off of our comforter. The other thing that I've discovered about my time away from social media is just the short, idle time that you spend waiting for your oil to get changed, waiting for the doctor to call you in. Even if people have, if you look around the room, even if people have 3 spare minutes, rather than engage in conversation with someone, they will go to their phone. It's not scientific, it's just what I seem to be experiencing and what I seem to be noticing. It's the reach for the phone every single time, whether it be news, text message. No one will make a call. They just start scrolling. I tried striking up conversations with a couple of people, one guy at the oil change place and another one in my doctor's office. They're very short with their answers. It's almost like we're becoming feral. We don't want to deal. We've got the advantage these days of being able to see who's calling us and make a choice about whether or not to pick up the phone. You know, somebody wants to communicate with you and connect with you. And that experience has been being reduced to the equivalent of finding a note on your door. Who did it? What do they want? Do I want to respond? I have those choices now. And it seems like a lot of people are using that as an excuse to not communicate. And I just don't get it. Well, the weather has certainly brought the wet. Today I'm 12 minutes into this walk and I'm already sweating. I think the temperature is somewhere around the low 70s and it already feels 15 degrees hotter than that. It's about 8:15 in the morning, St. Louis time. The trail is pretty empty, as I mentioned. And I'll take that. This part of the park is quite solitary, actually. There's not as much traffic. There's a little more terrain. And it never seems to be as crowded as the part down at the bottom where the big 5-mile loop is. Starting to smell the dry leaves. It's starting to remind me of being a kid and being a Boy Scout and camping in the fall time. It's the smell of the autumn leaves. We've been pretty dry here for the last 4 weeks or so. There hasn't been a whole lot of rain. The lawns are browning over, and it looks like a lot of the leaves are at least starting to change, but many of them are going straight to brown instead of showing off some really nice color. Good morning. For the most part, people are pretty friendly. Some people like to keep to themselves. I don't tend to talk to people who have their earbuds in. I'm starting to enjoy not having the earbuds in when I walk, just to hear the sounds, especially the wake-up sounds right now. The crickets are starting to die off a little bit, but you can still hear a few of them. And the air smells pretty clean this morning. I will say this, for as much as I can hear right now going on in the woods around me, having something to do and something to connect with while I'm walking through here is making this walk go by in no time. I don't think I'll walk off all the damage that we did last night. But it feels good to be out here. So dinner last night, that's where the food day went off the rails. It was really kind of amazing. We were sitting in bed in the morning having coffee together, and Bridge asked me, "What do you want to do for dinner tonight?" That's a big question in our house because it helps me plan breakfast and lunch. I'm a Weight Watcher, so I have to keep track of the things that I eat. And if we're going to be eating heavy for dinner, I at least like to know that ahead of time. And when she asked me what I wanted to eat, you know, you have your regulars, the things that you guys eat all the time and eat often. And I started thinking about some of the things that might be good for dinner, and something jumped into my head. But before I said anything about it, I volleyed it back to her. I was like, "Well, what do you feel like?" She said the exact same thing I was thinking. So pasta bake it was. So when dinner time came, we put together a pasta bake. Bridge likes to make her own sauce. So she made sauce, and she chased me to the store for a couple of things, not the least of which was cheese. But I also picked up some plant-based protein Italian sausage. I buy the Impossible stuff because it tastes good to me. They don't pay me or anything to say that. That's my favorite. So between the rotini, gluten-free pasta, her delicious sauce with mushrooms and sun-dried tomatoes, just a gorgeous color of red and super flavorful. We sliced up that Italian sausage, mixed that in with everything, and threw it in the oven for a half hour. And oh my God, we had to make a big salad to go with it so we both wouldn't chop the pasta bake in half and just bury our faces in it. But if that wasn't enough, after dinner we went to the laundromat to take care of the bedspread, and we shared an ice cream on the way home. And that's what I'm trying to get rid of, at least part of, this morning by walking. The food landscape, it's treacherous for those of us who really have to pay attention and watch. I can put on 5 pounds in a week and not even realize it's happening. So I did share it with one of my friends that several videos back I had my Mamiya 4x5 or 645 film camera out. I was taking some pictures in this park, and I took that roll of film to my local shop because I was out of chemistry to do that work at home, and it was a bad roll of film, and it cost me 26 bucks to find that out. So we're gonna try that experiment again, and I'm making plans to also bring a couple of my film cameras on a trip that Bridge and I are planning in February. I asked her, we don't really celebrate Valentine's Day. We both have baggage with it. So we made an agreement when we got together that we would never do anything extravagant for Valentine's Day. This year I changed it up, and I asked her, I said, hey, can I take you to dinner for Valentine's Day this time? And she agreed. So I'm probably gonna take her to dinner on our trip. We're gonna plan the trip around that, and hopefully visit some friends. We're gonna plan a trip down to the Southwest, see a friend of ours, and hopefully connect with a couple other people that I've recently befriended. Now for the fun part, walking into the sun. This ought to be nice, cool, and refreshing. While we've been through it a couple of times in recent years, we stayed in New Mexico a year ago, April. So April of 24. It's been that long since I've been down there. And when Bridge and I first met, I was going down there pretty frequently because a friend of mine from undergraduate school lives down there. He made a life for himself down there. So I was going down to visit him for years, several times a year. And once Bridge and I met, we kept that up for a little while, but our life together kind of took over. So we don't get down there as often as we used to. And we have had the fortune of being able to travel there, and we've been there at all times of the year. It's a beautiful place in all seasons. The blaze of the yellow of the aspens in the October, the coziness of a cup of coffee sitting next to a kiva while the fire is burning in the wintertime and the snow's piling up. The heat of the summer, that doesn't really feel like heat to somebody like me who's used to having the moisture go along with it. I learned the dangers of a dry heat. While it doesn't feel as bad as the humid heat, it's a lot more dangerous because you don't feel like it's as hot as it really is. And we've also seen all of the beautiful flora blooming in the springtime. It's a beautiful state for all seasons, and we really can't wait to get back there. I don't know where I'm going to take her yet for dinner. It'll be either in Santa Fe or Albuquerque. It's just going to depend on where we end up staying, and I'm in the process of making those plans now. So when we make that trip, I will be bringing film cameras with me, and only film cameras. I will not be shooting anything digitally, and I'm leaving all my digital equipment at home. Probably do some videoing and some vlogging, but no digital cameras. I'm doing this version of a video this week because, quite frankly, I ran out of time. I didn't even think I was going to be able to post anything this week because this week's been crazy at work. Been doing a lot, and then we're trying to do quite a bit of work at home. We're going to have a house guest next month, and with all of the work going on outside of our house, all of the insurance work from the storm that we had in the spring, we made some careful decisions about things in our home that could use a little freshening up. We spent yesterday taking all of our pictures off the wall, all of them. We laid them all out on the floor. Which ones do we want to keep? Which ones do we want to get rid of? And how do we want to reorganize the walls. We probably spent 2.5 hours doing that. And if you visited our house before we did that and after we did that, you probably wouldn't notice. But it feels good to us. It feels different to walk in that space because we know what we changed. We know that we were able to make some decisions about things that should stick around and things that we just really weren't attached to anymore. The hard part about that exercise was we have where we keep the hi-fi, we keep our stereo, where we listen to vinyl. We keep a corner cabinet in that room, and in that cabinet are memories of Bridget's parents, my parents. We keep little things in that cabinet that mean a lot to us. I have a little plaster paw print of my cat that I tear up every time I see it just because I miss him so much. He was the sweetest boy. And we went through that cabinet and found things that we haven't looked at since we moved in, and that was 12 or 13 years ago. Going through those things was emotional, and I think it was part of the exercise that neither of us we didn't count on feeling the way we did when we got to that part of the exercise. Anyway, so having had that busy kind of week, I didn't really have time to put together a video and edit a video for today, so I thought I would just do a walk along here in the park because the walk was something I needed to do anyway. Holy cow, just a whole bunch of really friendly people in the park this morning. A couple of guys back there looked like a father and son. They're on the trails this morning. They're a little dusty apparently because of the lack of rain. And he just asked me my shirt, which you see me in a lot because I like to promote my leather business. On the back, my shirt says "The Story is Unfolding," and it's kind of a play on wallets and passport covers and things that fold up. And as I was walking away from them, they asked me what story is unfolding, so I had to explain it to them. Headed back to the car now. The hard part starts. Everything's uphill. Here we go. Well, I think that's probably going to do it for me this week. My videos are still kind of a mix of certain things as I work to try and find my voice in this medium. I can't promise you any type of consistency until I get that figure out where I want to take all of this. But for now, I do genuinely appreciate the fact that you've made it this far in this video. Thank you so much. I hope the rest of your weekend is fantastic, and I hope the coming week is even better. Take care, and I'll see you next week.